After serial exits, big and small, biggest suspense from grand old party. Kaun banega king of Congress? Gandhi is abroad, deadline nears. Tharoor about to raise his hand. Does Tharoor want to lead the party? Can Tharoor lead and save Congress? Big focus on Newstrack.
Can Shashi Tharoor save the Congress? Does he want to? Will others back him? All that and more coming up in a fascinating political conversation tonight. Here are the headlines I'm tracking this year. No Ganesh Puja at the Eidgah Maidan in Bengaluru tomorrow. Supreme Court orders status quo. Plea on ownership of the ground to be reheard in the Karnataka High Court. No detention, no arrest for rape accused Muruga Mutt seer. Locals protest against police inaction. Mutt throws its weight behind the pontiff, calls rape charges a conspiracy. CBI checks bank lockers of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister in the Liquorgate controversy. Anna Hazare slams his former protege, says Kejriwal drunk on power and arrogance. Another twist in the Sonali Phogat murder case. Family claims Neta's PA poisoned her to snatch her property. Says main accused Sangwan spiked Sonali's food 2 months ago. With a net worth of $137 billion, Gautam Adani becomes the world's 3rd richest person, surpasses Louis Vuitton's boss, trails behind Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Congress ka President Kaun is Shashi Tharoor, about to raise his hand to be the next Congress president. Tharoor set the cat amongst the pigeons today by signalling he was testing waters when questioned about his intent to contest for the post of Congress president. Shashi Tharoor neither declined nor accepted. Can he lead the charge and save the Congress? Is Dr. Tharoor what the Congress desperately needs for revival? Or is he a bad idea, given that he doesn't speak Hindi, doesn't come from the Hindi heartland, comes from Kerala, and is the antithesis of Narendra Modi and BJP in many ways? I have a fascinating conversation lined up. But before that, here is a big story tonight.
Can the national icon of mind-boggling vocabulary rise from the Gandhi Darbar? Can the man who usually makes headlines for all the wrong reasons be the new Congress High Command? Congress MP from Kerala, Shashi Tharoor, has created huge buzz about his possible candidature for the throne of Congress President. Ahead of make-or-break internal elections on October 17, Tharoor has set the political cat among the Darbari pigeons by calling for several candidates to be in the fray.
People are free to speculate as they like. All I've written in my article is that elections are a good thing for the party.
Crucially, in a widely shared article he has just written for a Malayalam daily, Tharoor says choosing a fresh face is vital to the Congress party's revival from obliteration.
A democratic country like ours needs to have democratic political parties, and I welcome the fact that the Congress party has announced an election and is going to be conducting it openly and freely and fairly, and I think that's a very healthy practice. I'm surprised that that has led to much more speculation than the article itself warrants.
But the wily wordsmith has thrown a curtain of uncertainty over his real plans, parallelly suggesting that he'd be interested in venturing into Kerala politics and perhaps not contest the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Suspense over Tharoor's play has been stirred to fever pitch with this cryptic tweet today from one of India's most followed politicians. But is he really about to throw his hat into a ring that basically means challenging the Gandhis?
In my article, I said I think multiple candidates would be a good idea. And at the end of the day, of course, only one person will emerge. But the process attracts support and legitimizes the victor.
For starters, Tharoor is part of the rebel G23 faction, a group that has already been whittled down after the exits of Kapil Sibal, Jitin Prasad and most recently Ghulam Nabi Azad. And more tantalizingly, in his Malayalam article he states that no party should put itself in the position of believing that only one family can lead it. An eloquent, if gentle critic of the Congress's decrepit, lazy ways since 2014, Tharoor has carefully articulated the need for inner democracy to bring back vibrancy. Tharoor's strengths include the fact that he's a 3-time sitting Lok Sabha MP, has celebrity status, is popular with the middle class, has international appeal and administrative experience as a minister. His weakness in such a fight include the stain of being from the G23, not seen to be super close to the Gandhis, is not articulate in Hindi, and like we said, is a magnet for media controversy, from his photographs in Parliament to the death of his wife Sunanda Pushkar. What's clear is that Tharoor is still testing waters. That's the thing about Congress. Nobody wants to make any sudden moves, and the Gandhis are just fine with that. With Shivimol KG in Trivandrum, Bureau Report, India Today.
On Tuesday morning, Dr. Shashi Tharoor tweeted, and I was wrapping my head around the tweet for a while to say, I do not believe just in reform, I believe in growth. I do not dare to dictate to our society. This way thou shalt move. I simply want to be like the squirrel in the building of Rama's bridge who was content to offer his little quota of sand dust. Unquote, Swami Vivekananda. Now, what in the world does that mean? Journalists will have a field day if Shashi Tharoor, the wily wordsmith, is Congress president. But is this just a pipe dream, or can it be the panacea that the Congress is looking for? Joining us on the Newstrack, I want to welcome first India's foremost political commentator, my colleague Rajdeep Sardesai. Rashid Kidwai joins us. Rashid Kidwai tracks the ins and outs of everything that happens inside the grand old party, knows every twist, every turn, every leaf on every tree. Supriya Bhardwaj joins us. She tracks the Congress for us, knows more about what's happening in the mind of Rahul Gandhi than anybody, most certainly in our newsroom and most probably outside too. Sanjay Jha is, well, how do I say? It's complicated. He's no longer in the Congress, would love for Shashi Tharoor to fight and for him to be back, but then that's much tougher said than done. So let's get started. Rajdeep, could you figure out what that Vivekananda tweet meant, in what context, and more importantly, you and I were with Dr. Tharoor just on Friday at that Big Business Today event. Is Shashi Tharoor going to be the next Congress president? Does he want to be the Congress president? Is he genuinely wanting to fight?
Look, Shashi Tharoor loves cricket, Rahul. So he's tossing the ball in the air and hoping that, he can draw the batsman out. He's throwing a bit of a googly by suggesting in this article that the time has come to have a contest. I know for a fact that he's keen. Shashi Tharoor is keen to perhaps be nominated as a candidate for the Congress presidential election. But it also becomes a question of apply, no reply. Because the Congress leadership mistrusts anyone who has been associated with the G23, or those who are seen to have written that letter in August 2020, which according to the Congress leadership was effectively challenging the way the party was being run. So Shashi Tharoor does have that thappa, that stamp that he was part of the G23. Another weakness is that Shashi Tharoor is not an organizational person. He doesn't know the Congress organization. And finally, Rahul, the truth is that these elections, like them or not, are already pre-decided. Sitaram Kesri defeated Rajesh Pilot and the then mighty Sharad Pawar, winning 97% of the vote. In 1997, Sonia Gandhi defeated Jitendra Prasad by winning 99.9% of the vote. So it is very difficult for an outsider like Dr. Tharoor in a way to win the election. But I think Shashi Tharoor comes with strong advantages. He's a non-dynast. He is someone who is has a stature outside politics. And therefore, for those who are not Congress persons, outside the echo chambers of the Congress, he's the ideal candidate. At least someone who can perhaps be identified with groups other than those who are the Congress loyalists. It won't help him win an election, but it will at least get the Congress back once again in the narrative. To that extent, if a Shashi Tharoor, for example, was to challenge anyone whom the official candidate or the Gandhi family chose as their chosen one, including Rahul Gandhi, I think it would, in a way, at least suggest that the Congress is more willing to allow some element of a contest rather than just the nomination culture.
So
just one final point. You look at across Indian parties, Rahul, which Indian party really has inner party democracy? It's not as if JP Nadda was elected. It's not as if Sitaram Yechuri also truly was elected. They are selected. So Congress will select its president, but if they can create the impression of a contest, and if someone like Shashi Tharoor throws himself into a contest, I think it will give the Congress a little bit of a boost in the overall narrative at the moment.
I must tell our viewers that journalists and others like Rajdeep are part of the reason why Shashi Tharoor is contemplating standing for this election, because at every event like that Business Today event, you kept asking him, why don't you fight? Koi nahi karta to kya matlab? Why don't you fight? Rahul Gandhi is incompetent, but this is possibly why, as a public intellectual, Shashi Tharoor now feels the need to rise to the calling and say, okay, at least I put up my hand and I wanted to fight.
No, I think the worry for Shashi Tharoor, though, is that if he were to fight, he needs a plan B. You see, the Congress, if he fights the Gandhi family candidate and loses, as he almost certainly would, as a sort of unofficial candidate taking on the official Congress Gandhi loyalist, what does he do next?
No, he could possibly have had enough of politics, go back to writing, doesn't necessarily need this job, this is not where his money is coming from, and at least he says, I tried to reform the Congress and I failed.
You know, but you need a plan B. Ghulam Nabi Azad's plan B is there now. He's going to go into Jammu and Kashmir. Jyotiraditya Scindia, when he left the Congress, clearly knew that the
But
BJP
Shashi is
was
not
ready to
a
accommodate
career
him.
politician.
You know,
Shashi had a career outside of politics, unlike, say, take whoever you want. I don't want to be uncharitable to someone, but if they didn't have politics as a job, they wouldn't have a job. They wouldn't know what to do.
Sure, but
so Shashi can go back. He's winning international honors. He can do something else.
well, he could do something else. He's in his mid-60s. You can always have a second, third. In his case, it would be a third or fourth innings in life. But my own sense is, Shashi Tharoor does not want to go into an election where he will be completely decimated. He would like to be in an election where at least his standing then galvanizes at least a section of the Congress, which frankly is tired of the sense of drift within.
Okay. So apply. So far, no reply. That's the key takeaway. Rashid Khidwai, you're a man of words yourself. As a story, it is as fascinating as someone can be. Somebody with the charisma, the persona of Shashi Tharoor taking on Rahul Gandhi or his proxy. It just makes things exciting for Rajdeep and me and fathers. Is this actually going to happen, or is this a castle that's being built in the air?
I think, Rahul, this is a posture, a clever posture. Mr. Shashi Tharoor is positioning himself because there is a sense in the Congress that Gandhis are not very keen to continue having this kind of model of owning the, the political leadership of the party and running it. So if this kind of chapter opens, and this is what Rahul Gandhi wanted since May 2019 when he resigned as 87th president of the AICC, he wanted Congress to select its leader. But there were political compulsion and courtly culture, etc. And, Sonia Gandhi rule continued. So this is I would say, a very crucial time for the Congress. If Congress really kind of democratizes itself, then there is Mr. Tharoor or Ashok Gehlot or Sachin Pilot. Anybody can fight. We have seen, as Rajdeep was saying, in 1997, Sharad Pawar and Rajesh Pilot contested, and it actually positioned them. Unfortunately, Rajesh Pilot died young. Otherwise, he would have become first among equals in the Congress. So that is the same ploy Mr. Shashi Tharoor seems to be employing. He is positioning himself. If he becomes leader of the, of the Congress in Parliament, that will give him a platform. So he's open for some kind of, quid pro quo. And remember one thing, Rahul. There are 5 states, UP, Bihar, Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and even if you include Maharashtra, where Congress is politically, zero. But in the electoral college of the Congress party, it has over 50% of vote bank. So Gandhi is technically included. So therefore, Mr. Shashi Tharoor would like to be a political Manmohan Singh.
You explained the situation as it stood without giving us your sense of whether you think he is fighting or not. सीधे सीधे बताओ लड़ रहा है कि नहीं?
ये कैसे लड़ेगा? There are no number. The numbers are not there. How many PCC delegates are there in Kerala? And I think over 50% of them would not vote for him if they get to know that he doesn't have backing of Rahul Gandhi. So that's the thing. In Congress, you test water and then you move ahead.
So he's applied, now he's waiting for a reply. Okay, Pradyut Kishore Deb Burman is the scion of the royal family of Tripura, chairperson of the Indigenous Progressive Regional Alliance, a man who's seen the Congress at close quarters, someone who's seen Rahul Gandhi at close quarters, used to be part of the core circle, then decided it wasn't worth it. And now you have this prospect of Shashi Tharoor potentially jumping into the ring and saying, I'd like to be Congress president. Do you think it will happen? Does he have a chance? Or is this bound to end up badly for Dr. Tharoor?
No, I don't think it'll end up badly for Dr. Tharoor. I think Dr. Tharoor is a very intelligent man. I heard Rajdeep say that what is his plan B? I think the plan B for Shashi Tharoor was politics. His plan A was never politics. So I'm sure he has thought it out. And to be very honest, I think it's also very symbolic. I think he's probably trying to position himself like Rajesh Pilot would have if he had continued. And it's very unfortunate that Rajesh Pilot died. But if he had continued after the 98 election, he would have been a very powerful Congress leader.
But Rajesh Pilot came from the Hindi heartland, spoke Hindi as his key language. Shashi Tharoor, for all that's right with him,
So
comes
the
from
Congress
Kerala,
party is probably
doesn't
more
identify, and even,
I
remember,
agree.
yeah.
But Congress party is more powerful now outside the Hindi heartland.
Sure.
And I think the state where he comes from, Kerala, is probably the last bastion in terms, if you see the last Lok Sabha election. And if the Congress needs to make inroads, it needs to make inroads in the northeast. It needs to make inroads in Orissa, in Bengal, where he has a connect with Bengal. So I think Shashi Tharoor probably is thinking that he would be more useful outside the Hindi heartland. In the Hindi heartland, I don't think anyone in the Congress is ready to take on Narendra Modi. Not even Mr. Ashok Gehlot can take on Narendra Modi.
I've travelled with Shashi Tharoor in Trivandrum during Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. He's seen as a bit of an oddity or an outsider even within the Congress fold, like the party Karyakartas. You know, they were indulging him and humouring him, saying we have to kind of make it happen because he's not seen as a hardcore party man, which he isn't. He's electable, he wins in a tough constituency, he's won twice over.
I think it's symbolic, Rahul, we are taking too much into it. Finally, it will be decided when there is a indication from the family who they would like to see as a president. But his contesting would be more symbolic. And I think that's the way ahead.
Do you think he can win, Pradyut?
It all depends on who the indication comes from the family. Without the blessings of the family, I don't think it is possible for Mr. Tharoor to win.
That's quite unfortunate because that hardly sounds like a democratic election, because what you want, like Sunak and Truss, having a go at each other, you want to see a robust election. You want to see a fight, you want to see a contest.
And Mr. Shah, it is impossible for Nadda to continue as president. So I think that is there in all parties.
Sure, that's true as well. That's unfortunately absolutely true about Indian politics. Now, Supriya set the cat amongst the pigeons in the newsroom when she came and announced very dramatically this afternoon that Rahul Gandhi will in fact contest as president. She said that it's not known so much in the public at this moment, but he's definitely thinking about it. So that no is actually not a no, it could be a yes. Is that what you're picking up, Supriya?
This is what the Congress party sources are informing us. We spoke to a lot of leaders across party line. There's a huge pressure on Rahul Gandhi. Today morning also, there are leaders after leaders who are coming out and saying that only Rahul Gandhi can take on the top mantle. And what is really interesting is...
So his no, according to you, is not a real no?
No, technically his stand in the CWC, the last CWC was that he will look into all the requests, where even Mr. Azad was present, Mr. Anand Sharma was present after that result of the 5 assembly states came, and he said categorically, he listened to everybody and he said, okay, he will consider. So that is his official stand. Now, what he says in the CWC and what is the stand within the party is the last stand of Rahul Gandhi is that. Now, everything else,
Andar ki khabar batao na.
Andar ki khabar ye hai, he hasn't revealed his cards yet, and what we are seeing is that the grand and positioning which is happening, and the Congress party sources are saying that there's a full-fledged machinery which is working behind the scene to once again put a lot of pressure on Rahul Gandhi that he should take on the top post of the Congress party, because right now Congress party is going through a very crisis situation. No one, even if somebody like Mr. Gehlot is there, there's already so much bickering which is going on in Rajasthan. We have seen anyone who comes at this very moment, Gandhis are the only glue that ensures that the entire Congress is there together. Now, when Priyanka Gandhi has made it clear that she is not for the top job at the moment, the Gandhis haven't finalized the situation. So there is only two situations. One is that Congress President Ms. Sonia Gandhi continues, which is a lot of people are saying that will not happen. And one indication is that the perception which is built is Rahul Gandhi will be the one who will be back from abroad, where his mother is undergoing medical checkup on 2nd September. 4th, he's going to address a rally in Delhi. Then 5th, we see him going to Gujarat. Then we see him starting that Bharat Jodo Yatra from 7th September, which is going to be a game changer as far as Congress party is concerned. And I would like to emphasize that where Dr. Shashi Tharoor's second line in that cryptic tweet is, which we are trying to decode since morning, is that he certainly believes in growth, because everybody in the Congress party knows that whosoever will be the next Congress president, there will be massive changes in the organization. Rahul Gandhi, along with 100 leaders...
No, but some of this I've heard. When he lost in Delhi, itna badal dunga, I'll change it so radically, fundamentally, and then he just went off for another holiday. So some of this we've heard in the past. It's an old script and a broken record.
No, but this time they have to do it, because we all understand that the crisis is there. They have to come together. They have to rework on the organization. Rahul Gandhi in his resignation has categorically stated that he has to change the organization. The Congress party has to undergo a massive transformation. So this is a phoenix moment, as I would say, for the Congress party. They have to rise from the ashes, and Congress party's all topmost leaders, including Ashok Gehlot, when you ask them that we heard that your name is being put, he says, nahi, mera nahi hai, to hum to Rahul ji ka naam bolke aaye hain.
Supriya is spirited. Whether Rahul Gandhi has the spirit or not, we don't know yet.
No, I am spirited about one thing.
But Supriya was certainly in terms of giving her perspective is spirited.
I am not spirited about...
But you're only telling us what you're picking, and that's fine.
There is one thing which I would like to add in this thing, because Congress party at the moment, if we speak to a lot of people and who have spoken to Rahul Gandhi, is pointing towards one thing, which is really the bottom line of everything. It doesn't matter who the Congress president is. It doesn't matter who the people in CWC is. They have to go down back to the roots. They have to strengthen the organization at grassroots
everybody
level.
knows what needs to be done, but no one's doing it. There's an election in Gujarat which is hardly being fought. There's an election in Himachal Pradesh which is being fought largely by the state unit. Not much support from the central leadership. Sanjay Jha joins us. Sanjay, you've been in and out. Shashi Tharoor is someone you know well. Does he have a hope in hell, or is this just a castle in the air?
Well, Rahul, I sincerely hope that Shashi puts his hat in the ring. The Congress needs to basically tell the people of India that we are not going to give a cakewalk to anyone, that this party is beyond just a family, dynasty, private fiefdom, and that talent does get an opportunity to compete. And I think, as you rightly mentioned, the Congress needs a new narrative. I honestly have been, and I will share this with you, I have been in touch with Shashi, and I have been imploring him that, these are moments that you need to really kind of,
What's he telling you? Tell me that. I know what you're telling him. Tell me what he's telling you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Shashi is fully aware that if he fights the election, and both Rajdeep and you are totally right, that if the High Command has a different candidate, which is probably going to happen, Shashi has absolutely no chance to win the election. But, and this is a very crucial, fundamental but, that end of day, the Congress party will have to wake up to the reality that you'll be saying no to a man who, by the way, I think it's very unfair to brand him as an urban elite, intellectual, kind of heavyweight who can't connect with people. I have done multiple conversations with Shashi in different forums. I agree they have been mostly urban, but his ability to connect with people is amazing. The kind of, I do believe that if
he doesn't
Shashi
need to connect with you. Come on, he needs to go to Bihar, he needs to go to UP, he needs to go to Bengal, he needs to connect with those people.
राहुल आपको एक बात हम बता देते हैं, सुनिए मेरी बात, देखिए.
अरे आप बिहारी बोल रहे हो, वो नहीं बोल सकते हैं ना सर.
अरे सुनिए मेरी बात, आप लोगों को लगता है कि हम लोग जरा बम्बई में बैठे हुए हैं, थोड़ा अंग्रेजी बोल लेते हैं, तो हम लोग बिहार में जाके रोडवा पे बैठ के प्रचार नहीं कर सकते हैं क्या? आपको क्या लगता है कि हम लोग जरा थोड़ा यहाँ पिज्जा खा ले या बर्गर खा ले, तो तो वहां जाके हम लोग लाठी और जेल में अंदर जाने से हम हिचकिचाते हैं? अरे देखिए, शशि थरूर is a thrice won member of parliament, and I can tell you something today. He's a popular, well-liked person, and in my opinion, the Congress party needs to bite the bullet on change. I also can tell you who the three candidates the High Command are likely to put forth. One will be either Mr. Gehlot, or it will be Mr. Kharge, or it will be Mukul Wasnik. And I can tell you that if you were to put any of them in a debate with Shashi Tharoor, I don't have to even tell you who's likely to be the winner. I think the Congress has an opportunity to
electoral politics is not about sounding smart in a debate. I wish it were. But it's much more than that. If you sit with an Amit Shah, if you sit with a Bhupender Yadav or a Dharmendra Pradhan from early in the morning till late into the night, isko udhar bhejo, usko udhar bhejo. And I tell you, I've seen Shashi Tharoor campaigning at very close quarters personally. That is not his core skill. Congress president, as an organizational man, needs to be able to marshal his resources. Much as television anchors would love for there to be a fight, that is not his core skill. I mean, it's most certainly not Rahul Gandhi's core skill. That's a different matter altogether. But it's not Shashi's either.
Now, Rahul, let me tell you why I disagree with you.
Okay.
In terms of hard work. Okay, now listen, we all in politics, everyone has a special role to play. So for a while, Shashi has been, doing the media, he does his books, he does his talks, and they are hugely popular.
Sure.
What makes you think, no, 1 minute, what makes you think that people aren't versatile to wear different hats? And in my opinion, if Shashi Tharoor is the Congress president, you'll have great press conferences, he will never use a teleprompter, and more importantly, he knows his content.
We'll have to carry a thesaurus just to determine what he's saying. Or, you read that tweet multiple times over to figure what in the world is going on. And I see everyone is being more mindful of how they speak, thinking if Shashi is watching them, he'll later judge their language skills, and therefore they're just being more careful with sentence construction than they'd ordinarily be. Now, Rohan Gupta is watching this broadcast saying, I am the official spokesperson of the Congress party. These guys are going round and round in a table. They're not coming to me. That's also because you will have the least interesting take on this. Because you will not tell us anything so far because you are the official spokesperson. Yes.
Since you people have opinion, including Sanjay Jha and all the people here, I think you must become member of Congress party and vote.
Baba,
I think what is important is, let me complete, Rahul. I was listening to everybody.
Yeah,
so I think all of you should vote and let the Congress party office bearers and delegates decide who is going to be our president. You cannot underestimate the power of Congress worker. If we decide that, okay, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is good for party, we will vote for him. Why are we deciding in TV debate? No, that's not the correct forum. If Mr. Shashi Tharoor, he wants to fight election, he is welcome. We are the only party, democratic party, who could even dare to organize organizational election, presidential election. You tell me, could BJP organize these elections? No, Rahul. So I think you should respect that, and you should respect the wisdom of Congress workers that yes, we will take right decision. Because our future is at stake.
You are saying it in a very animated fashion. You are trying to sound convinced about what you're saying. But sir, we've been hearing this from 2014. It's now 2022. If it hadn't been as long as it has, and if your actions even remotely matched your words, you'd be taken more seriously than you are being right now.
See, absolutely not, Rahul. See, whether electoral benefit or electoral gain and loss, that's a part of politics. We know what kind of politics BJP is playing. It has never happened in the history of Indian politics. They have taken Indian politics to the new highs. Whether misuse of agencies or misuse of media, we have never seen this. So we are also, as a Congress party, we are adjusting and we are fighting to it. It's not that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has not fought. He has fought the big battles. At the end of the day, when he felt that as a president, he has not delivered.
I swear we didn't do anything to that line. It went off on its own. It's not as if we were trying to deny Rohan Gupta the chance. Okay, he's back. Yes, go on.
Yeah. So if Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to become president, who stops him? There is no need for organizing elections. But since he doesn't want to contest, he doesn't want to be president, there are elections. And obviously, as the workers, everybody has right to request him to take the presidency. What is wrong? So we cannot decide in debate that what Congress workers will do, what should happen in Congress. Yes, we have been defeated electorally. That doesn't mean that future is going to be same. You will see that Bharat Jodo Yatra is going to be the game changer, Rahul. And in the same debate, you will praise Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Kanwal will praise Rahul Gandhi.
Come on, Bharat Jodo would make a lot more sense if it started from Gujarat and if there was a massive effort on. Kejriwal, who has much lesser at stake in Gujarat, is giving it his all in that state. despite his roadmap being far longer, Congress, which could have had a hope, is starting from Kanyakumari, going into Kerala, coming into, and where are you sitting at this moment? When I was in Ahmedabad, you were in Delhi. The Congress party in Gujarat should have been in Delhi, should be in Gujarat fighting the elections. In Gujarat, congressmen are telling me why the BJP will win and how they'll win with a bigger margin than the last time. There's no spirit, there is no fight, there is a very serious problem.
See, Rahul, if you remember 2017, nobody was giving more than 30 seats to Congress party. And what happened at the end of the day? We were very, very close. So you cannot...
And what happened after that? How many of your MLAs left and joined the BJP? How long and how sustained was your campaign against the BJP after the campaign? How often did Rahul Gandhi go back to Gujarat after the elections got over?
Money power, the way they are misusing the agencies, the way they are putting the pressure, obviously everybody will not be able to hold. What does that happen? When even Ahmed Patel's election in 2017, when 15 of our MLAs left, we could elect more 30 MLAs. So you are underestimating Gujarat. As far as Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, we have seen in Uttarakhand what kind of hike they created. They could get only around 2% votes. So I think Gujarat is...
Now, Rajdeep, is Rahul Gandhi's no actually a no? From what you know of the man, is that no just an invitation for a chorus to grow, that no be turned into a yes, and then ultimately he comes back from this long break, does this yatra, does this Bharat Jodo Yatra, and then there's a clamor, bano, Rahul Api bano.
Look, I must be fair to Rahul Gandhi here. His no has usually been no. You know, he can easily be the Congress president. The party, the workers, the senior leaders who are left in the party all want Rahul Gandhi. So it's not as if Rahul Gandhi is not the favored, preferred candidate of the leadership and the workers as they stand today. So when he says no, I think Rahul Gandhi in a way is either recognizing his limitations or the limitations of the Congress. Rahul Gandhi wants to restructure the Congress in a way, in his own image, in his own beliefs. And that's not going to happen overnight. He also recognizes, I think, that with 20 months to go, 18 months to go in the election, can he really at this moment change and transform the Congress? No, I think Rahul Gandhi's problem in a way is that he is looking at the long term. The Congress is looking at the short term. In the short term, the Congress wants immediate answers to the crisis.
But what long term is he looking at?
He thinks, I think, that...
He said this to us, I have a 25 to 30 year horizon.
That's right. So, you know, someone who's looking at a 25 to 30 year horizon is probably not looking at whether I will be the Congress president in the next month. He wants to see, can I transform Indian politics in the next decade? Good luck to him.
No, Modi and Shah, meanwhile, have actually transformed Indian politics.
Which is
while
why
he's been thinking about what he wants to do.
Which is why the fact is that
Rahul.
where is Shashi Tharoor coming from? Shashi Tharoor is representing that view within the Congress which believes that you cannot think about the long term because in the long term we are dead. Let's first try for short-term revival. Let's find a way of providing a more inspirational leadership at the moment. A leadership that doesn't just cater to the echo chambers of the Congress but is able to attract a wider voter base. I keep repeating this figure, Rahul, on your show. The Congress won 11 crore votes in 2009. They won around 11 crores again in 2019. No additional voters. The BJP went from 7 crores in 2009 to 22 crores in 2019. So the newer voters, the younger voters have all gravitated towards the BJP.
Sanjay Jha.
So Shashi Tharoor represents that view within the Congress. It's not publicly said but privately said that we cannot survive as a party unless we are able to attract new voices.
No, and in that sense, Sanjay Jha, the Gandhis at this moment represent a lot of what is wrong with the Congress party. Dynasty, incompetence, disinterest, not wanting to work 24/7, and therefore, in that sense, Shashi Tharoor comes with a clean image, and it's very difficult to be as inept and as incompetent as Rahul Gandhi has been in the job.
Rahul, let me tell you that Rahul Gandhi can do the Bharat Jodo Yatra. He can lead it. He can walk all the way. It will be good for the Congress. It will galvanize the public and the cadres, no doubt about it. He doesn't have to be the face of the party for the prime ministerial post. He doesn't have to be the Congress president. And I don't see why that should be a problem. I've always believed you'd rather be part of a winning team as opposed to being a captain of a ship that's clearly in turbulent waters. And I'll give you one example to what Rajdeep was talking about, the long haul. I've written about it in my book, and let me tell you, I was personally shocked when I heard somebody who's very close to Rahul in 2014, by the way, before the elections actually were announced, he actually told me that I think it would be a great idea if the Congress party were to lose 2014. And I asked him why. And he said, you know what, that's the only way for us when we are in the opposition, we'll be able to get the debris out, we'll bring in new blood and we'll reinvigorate ourselves. And I told him, don't you think that'll be a lot easier if you're in government, you're in power, because you'll be able to actually dedicate that focused energy towards that side. He said, no, we must be in the opposition. Look where the Congress is today. It's an existential crisis. And once upon a time when we use these terms, it appeared like some kind of a hollow rhetoric. It is not. The Congress is fighting for survival. And I think if Rahul Gandhi steps out of the race right now, it will be good for the Congress. I have said that a Priyanka Gandhi, Sachin Pilot, double ticket could be the double engine for the Congress. But if they are not going to be the option that the Congress opts for, then I think Shashi Tharoor fighting an election, even if he loses, then at least send out a message that there is some semblance of, hope. Because people are at least speaking out for change. Because the Congress is no ordinary party. The Congress is not just another startup political, entity. It has got a role in India's history, for God's sake. And to see it dwindle and diminish, I'm sure it breaks many hearts.
Pradyut, you know Rahul Gandhi well. Do you think, what do you think of Ghulam Nabi Azad saying the man is disinterested, his own close associates leave him? The likes of an RPN, Jitin Prasad, Jyotiraditya Scindia, those who were closest to him. So forget the old guard or the debris, even those who Rahul cultivated or thought he was cultivating, who Rahul Gandhi thought were closest to him, are the ones who've gone the soonest.
Azif, I think you have to distinguish between why Jitin Prasad left and why Scindia left, and for the matter, why someone like me left. I didn't go and join the BJP after criticizing them to the hilt. Some of them have gone for convenience, some of them have gone for political opportunity, and some of them actually got fed up with the Congress because there was no action and they left for reasons better known to them. What Ghulam Nabi Azad ji has said, it's obviously a setback when a senior leader like him leaves. But then we also have to understand that my exit was not because of Rahul Gandhi, but was because of a gentleman called Luisino Falero, who himself has gone and joined the Trinamool. So there are a lot of, you cannot completely bring it to a generational change. There are many senior people who are very good for the Congress, and there are many young people who are also there to contribute to the party. Coming back to the fundamental question which Sanjay has been raising and what Rohan has also raised, yes, we are no longer members of the Congress party, but we do belong, at one point we did belong to the same family and the ideology, whether it is Mamta Banerjee, whether it is Jagan, whether it is me, whether it is Sanjay. And I think that the Congress party would do well if it showed to the rest of the country that we are planning to hold elections, which will actually reinvigorate the party. As an opposition leader myself, I would like to see the Congress as a credible opposition, because this country does need a credible opposition.
Oh, most certainly. There can be no question about it.
Sanjay has been saying many things. Of course, Sanjay, I do agree that we need an urban face as well. I loved your Bihari accent. We also come up with a few accents. Rahul knows that very well. But the most important fact is, what we need is...
Should I tell our viewers that you can do a mimicry of Rahul Gandhi, or is that not allowed on national television?
Mimicry of Modi is not allowed in national television.
No, मैंने Rahul Gandhi बोला. I didn't say Modi. You could do that as well.
No. Nothing is allowed in national television. The only person I can mimic in national television is Rahul Kanwal.
That won't be half as interesting. We saw a bit of a mimicry from Sanjay. Now that we're on it, I must tell our viewers.
It will be really good if we can get some newer faces in the party to become an aid or an asset to the party, because it will help get the younger voters.
I'm sorry. I must press this. I must tell our audience watching live on television tonight that Pradyut's got talent, okay? Serious, real talent. Now, he can pick. I'm not going to... You are the one who brought up the issue of mimicry and I didn't.
No,
you
I heard Sanjay do a Bihari accent, which is very
You can pick who you want. You can pick the Prime Minister, if you please. You can pick Rahul Gandhi. Pick somebody from the Congress, because you've seen a lot of them. Pick whoever you want, actually. And let's see some mimicry before I go back to our next set of guests.
Mimicry नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन संजय जी ऐसा है कि अब बिहार में तो आप रहते नहीं हैं, लेकिन थोड़ा मुंबई में भी बैठकर थोड़ा सा आप हमें ज्ञान दे दीजिएगा कि अगर हमें इलेक्शन जीतना है तो बिहार को छोड़ के भी साउथ में भी बहुत जगह है. आपका क्या ख्याल है इसके बारे में?
आप बिल्कुल ठीक ही बोल रहे हैं. तो हम लोग जरा
अब मैं-
बतियाएंगे, जरा ये
हाँ।
प्रोग्राम खत्म हो जाए।
हम पहले भैंस धो के आते तब बात करते हैं आपसे।
लिट्टी
one
चोखा पकड़
Tripura
के
Vasi,
और
one
भात दाल आलू
Tripura
का भुजिया
Vasi,
खा के हम लोग बतियाएंगे।
one Tripura Vasi
The
and one
idea
Bombaya.
is the idea is that we need a fresh breath of air in the Congress party, and this election should be able to provide that, even if it's symbolically. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Rohan Gupta is wondering what in the world is going on. They're dissecting me, my party, my future, and everybody
No,
has...
I love Rohan. He's a great guy. You know, we were colleagues as well, and I've always held him in very high regard. He's a great person, and I think he means well for the party. We all mean well for the country and the party. The only thing is that we need the Congress to get its act together, so then we can know who we can talk to in the party.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rashid, you have a last word for us. What do you think will mostly... Everybody has his own theory on what should happen. What should happen to the Congress is not difficult. The fact that India needs an opposition, is unquestionable. What do you think will happen next?
Congress story is very simple. The Congress is not used to a failure of a Nehru Gandhi family member, because post 1969 they had developed this dependence model where the job of the member of Nehru Gandhi family was to fetch votes, and the Congress would just follow. Now, if it wakes up and it starts, try to run the party as per their whims and fancies, as P.V. Narasimha Rao and to a limited extent Sitaram Kesri tried, it will be a very good thing. But whether this will happen or not, we have to wait and watch, because in 3 weeks' time, it's very good for the Congress if people like Shashi Tharoor are waking up to this idea to, head the Congress, or for that matter, Ashok Gehlot, and run the party in a non-Nehru Gandhi family member way. I think that is going to be a very crucial thing for the Congress.
Rohan Gupta, the fact is that so many congressmen themselves, when the cameras are turned off and when this debate will end, will say you are spot on. Rahul Gandhi, he doesn't have his heart in the job. He's not the right man for this position. Somebody else must step in. If every single congressman, or virtually every congressman who calls after the show has this to say, then why is it that the party can't bring itself to thinking beyond the Gandhi family? It's as clear as day what you need to do. The Gandhis need to go. You need fresh blood.
See, when elections happen, Rahul, I think it's a secret ballot. And if I cannot speak in open, obviously I will not waste my vote if I am not convinced. See, Rahul, we need to understand. You need to trust the Congress workers. It's not that we don't understand what's happening. Why BJP is attacking Rahul Gandhi day in and day out? He might have a different style of working, but the way he is fighting, he has conviction for the country, for the future of the country.
But he's the easiest guy to fight. No, one second. Between a Kejriwal and a Rahul Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi is the... One second. Think of it as cricket. If you're up against Zimbabwe, you want to be up against Zimbabwe. You don't want to play Australia. You'd much rather that Rahul Gandhi comes back into the ring.
Think whether it is COVID period, after COVID, whether it is farmers' agitation, he has fought tooth and nail. You cannot question that. Point here is different, Rahul. Yes, we have not won elections. That's a different thing. But that doesn't mean that we have not worked in the right direction. That doesn't mean that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has not put his ideas into action. You will see in future. Please trust us. And if you don't trust us, please become Congress member. Vote for our new president. I'll be very happy with that. But yes, whenever you come next time to Ahmedabad, please come and see me. I'll show you what is the ground situation in Gujarat. And then you'll be convinced that this time also we are going to definitely make sure that we are going to give tough fight to BJP, and we might have 125 seats. You will laugh at me today because you are just, going into Lutyens reports what is there. But on ground, situation is different in Gujarat this time. Let me tell you that.
Okay, I will come back to Gujarat. I mean, there's nothing I enjoy more in journalism than traveling during an election. So I most certainly will be back. Hopefully, congressmen will be in Gujarat fighting that election rather than being here and there. But that's besides the point. We've had a fascinating conversation. I'm going to give Pradyut one last chance. Pradyut, I know you do a very good mimicry of Rahul Gandhi. You cannot end this show without giving this Bihari accent, meaning it's not going anywhere. Let's see your genuine mimicry of Rahul. You don't have to say something unpleasant. You can say something nice. Let's see your mimicry of Rahul Gandhi before I...
Rahul, you see, what we do in private, I know Rahul very well. He's a wonderful human being. And I would like to give him that much of respect. But all I have to say is that eventually, I mean, I'm not going to do this mimicry. When we meet next time in Delhi, I will definitely entertain you. But the fact is that as we sit here and discuss about Congress, I think there are maximum of us are not Congress members anymore, and yet that we are discussing about it means that it is an extremely big and important party. And if the Congress can get its act together for allies or non-allies, we are neutral. We're neither with Congress, neither with BJP. At least we'll know who to talk to in the Congress. I do hope that we get a new face. If Rahul Gandhi wants to fight, there's no one who has any strength in the party to stop him. But if it's not a Gandhi, then I do believe that there should be a free and fair election. And whether it is Shashi, whether it is Sachin, whether it is KC Venugopal, whoever it is, as long as the Congress has a face, we will know who to talk to. And that's when you can ask me to
in all the things that Pradyut said, he's a shrewd politician, make no mistake, mimicry aside. He said, we will know who we need to speak to. And there is a lot of symbolism to that. A lot of congressmen themselves, and I met some of them in Gujarat, say, now we simply don't know who to talk to. Earlier, there was Ahmed Patel. We knew how to get our word across. Now we simply don't know who to talk to. That's part of the many problems the Congress has. We could be here all night discussing this. But this is a fascinating conversation. And I hope as hell that there is a fight, as there should be. India needs an opposition because that's key to a democracy. And we need somebody who's a non-proxy, not somebody who's just picked because, you know, he's like a darbari. We don't need a darbari. There needs to be somebody who actually has the belief, the guts, the gumption and the courage to believe, I can take on the BJP. At least believe that, fight that. Whether you like Kejriwal or not is besides the point. He believes he has an alternate model. He believes he's the best. He wants to fight. He doesn't have a 30-year view. He's here in Gujarat fighting at this moment, for good or for bad. That's him. You need somebody with some hunger in his belly, not somebody who'll go off again to Europe or to Thailand. That's not how you build a political party. That's not how you fight an election. That's not how you convince people that you are for real. This was extremely fascinating. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as well. No one knows what will happen next, but we'll keep tracking what does. I'll slip into a break. I'll have more for you when we come back on the other side of a quick break. No detention.
I'm the early bird who gets the news. The fresh morning air is my energizer. With me around, there are no dwindled dawns. Only bright, action-packed mornings. Rise and shine with me every single day, and you'll never hit that snooze button.
Good morning, India. Why wake up any other way when you can witness magic every single day? Watch First Up with me, Akshita Nandagopal, right here on India Today TV.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You're on board the Newstrack. 96 hours since he was booked for raping minors, the Muruga Mutt seer is still free. He's not even been questioned. He's not detained or arrested. He continues to be at his mutt in Chitradurga. This despite being charged with the POSCO Act. The question is, why is the police not acting against this powerful Lingayat seer?
Allegations of rape against prominent Lingayat Mutt seer Shivamurthy Murugasharanaru have rocked Karnataka. The pontiff of Jagadguru Murugarajendra Vidyapeeth Mutt is booked under Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act for the alleged rape of 2 minor girls staying at the school hostel attached to the mutt. It's been over 3 days since the case was filed, but the suspect roams free at his Chitradurga mutt despite charges under POXO Act being a non-bailable offence. The seer has claimed the rape case is a conspiracy against him.
ಆ ದಿಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆದರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಗೌರವಿಸೋಣ. ಆ ದಿಸೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಮಾನದ ಚಿಲುಮೆಯನ್ನು
Other Lingayat seers are putting up a united front in support of the Muruga pontiff.
ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಮ ಪೂಜ್ಯರು ಈ ಆರೋಪ ಮುಕ್ತರಾಗಿ ಹೊರಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ನಾಡಿನ ಪರಮ ಪೂಜ್ಯರ ಆಶಯ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಸತ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸತ್ಯ ಹೊರಬರ್ತದೆ. ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಯವರ ಬೆಂಬಲಕ್ಕೆ, ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿಯವರ ಹೋರಾಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಶಿವಮೂರ್ತಿ ಮುರುಘರಾಜೇಂದ್ರ ಮಹಾಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಶಾಖಾ ಮಠಾಧೀಶರು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೂಜ್ಯರು ಅವರ ಜೊತೆಲಿದ್ದು.
Meanwhile, protests have erupted against Chitradurga police and district administration for not taking strict action against the seer accused of rape.
I have a simple question. What is the meaning of POCO's rules? Okay. If it is normal people, you should arrest him. What happened that VIP going on court?
With just months to go for the state elections, most leaders across political parties have backed the seer, overlooking the serious allegations leveled against him.
He is accused or whatever it's there, law will take its own course. But my duties, since my childhood, I am coming to this mat. And I told you, I am prepared to meet the children also. But the Department of Police or whatever they are not allowing me to. I am ready to meet them also.
BJP MLC H. Vishwanath, one of the rare voices to call out the police, has demanded the arrest of the seer.
When a person booked under POSCO, he must immediately arrested within 24 hours. But in this case, that has not been happened. People are asking, why? Is there any law for the shrine and the common man?
The District Sessions Court in Chitradurga will hear the seer's anticipatory bail petition on September 1st.
BJP MLC also demand the arrest of seers and hit out at the government, stating that ministers' statements are protecting the accused in the POXO case. The question is, after the CRPC statement registered at the court, will the police act on the alleged accused in the POXO case? With your original Shivamurthy Sagairaj reporting for India Today, Chitradurga.
This is where we wrap up the Newstrack tonight. I look forward to seeing you at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night, and wish all of you a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi.
A new published report states who are the world's highest paid actors. And guess what? Tom Cruise is the highest paid Hollywood actor in the world. His movie Top Gun Maverick earned him $100 million. Now, we do love seeing good old Tom in action. Well, right after him, it